Hello and welcome to today's video as we do a preseason power rankings of what I would consider to be, well, it's not, I guess, tier 2, but we've got the four regions below LCK and LPL with LEC, LCS, CBLOL, and LCP. So I'm separating my power rankings based on that. We've got the two regions and then the four others in this one. This is based 100% off of stats, and the stats used for the preseason power rankings will not be the same stats you see used for the rest of the season. These are based 100% off of the rosters and player stats from 2025. And then, in addition to that, coaches and just their win rate last year, depending on where they were and whether they were a head coach, assistant coach, or what tier of play they're in. So, yeah, and you know what? Honestly, it really reflects the team rankings, very similar to last season. At the end, and dependent on roster changes, the teams change rank because Team Liquid moved to first, and you think to yourself, well, Team Liquid didn't even make Worlds. They did make first stand, and obviously left a lot to be desired there if you're an LCS fan. But at the same time, they made some significant moves, in my opinion, bringing in Morgan, bringing in Quid, and Jose Deodo. Like three moves there that are, in my opinion, a big deal. Morgan, obviously, with Bro, we're going to find out what and how much he was being. Well, what much doesn't make any fucking sense, does it? How much Edgar was holding him back. All those Bro players that were on those teams for many years. See if Morgan can be decent in the LCS. Quid, obviously, a excellent mid laner. In my opinion, was the MVP of 2025 in the LCS. A 1v9 player, somebody that I've been high on for many years, even prior to him making a debut in Tier 1. Jose Deodo, a player that we talk very highly of, and Yeon and Core JJ are excellent players, kept the coach. G2 kept the same team, and they were one of the better teams. Makes sense. Cloud9, Loki's out. Reapered is out. And Reapered leaving, going to KC, rose KC up a bit. You see KC bring in Yahoo. Yahoo, a player that I consider to be very good by Western standards. He's going to be pretty fucking good in the LEC, in my opinion, based on how things usually transpire with imports in the West. So C9 are there, KC. We got Lion, and keep in mind, too, I know that there are going to be people in the comment section that are going to question the ranking of a couple teams in particular. And that is because all their players played in Tier 2 last season. And because of that, they get ranked much lower. And it's not necessarily a reflection of where I think teams are going to be, but stats, pretty nice. I like stats. So, fifth, we got Lion. Berserker returning to LCS makes him, in my opinion, the best AD carry in the LCS right off the rip. And if he's not first, he's second. Saint, one of the best mids in the LCS, in my opinion, last year. Very, very strong with Lion. Inspired, obviously, you could argue is the best Western player in the world. Western player, or best player even on this board, depending on team. Dokla in place of Zamudo's fine. Bot lane, not support. Isles, underrated player. So Lion are fifth. Shifters, I'm very high on at sixth. We got CFO dropping to seventh. They lost Junja Hongkyu. They bring in Shadow and Pengyan, but that's where they are. And as well as losing actually Kaiwing and bringing in a rookie in 2274. And that's what kind of hurt them. 2274 is going to be ranked as one of the lowest supports because he played in Tier 2 last season. So that's a thing. VKS, 8th place. Trimby's out. Kaiwing's in. They're still atop LTA, CBLOL. Koi didn't change anything. So they dropped. It shows as a result of how everyone's made moves and where Koi ends up. Then we have Furia and Pain, and that includes Pain with Marvin. Goes to show you just the little bit that Pain pretty much were third to begin with, and they still are third, even with Marvin, and shows the gap between Furia and then maybe theoretically, who else was next on here? Red? That Pain are closer to the gap there is massive between 10th and 11th statistically, in general. Giant X, decent last year. Gam made some roster moves. Taki's in as an improvement. Levi being out is a big deal. Then we got Shopify with Zinni. That's huge. Loud brought in a couple imports. Young J and Bull, but Mago and mid. Zeno and top lane, very unproven, but I am a Zeno supporter, so we'll see how the kid does. Fnatic made some changes. Losing Mickey is a big one. Red, I think, is a dark horse this year. Kept the roster pretty much. Team Secret Whales kept 4 of 5, but losing Taki is a big blow, as well as losing the coach. We'll see how Warhorse does. I think theoretically they could be ranked higher. FlyQuest, one of the very young roster, very unproven. So we'll see how they do. There's a lot of question marks there with FlyQuest. MKV made some roster changes as well. Sentinels new. I mean, after this we kind of get through to teams that were kind of, this is where they were ranked last year. Ground Zero are 24th. Probably where they're going to end up. Somewhere in that range. It's kind of like the likely parties are kind of where they are. Teams kind of made moves and kept themselves. I mean, there weren't really drastic improvements. Really, looking at the board. Team Liquid. Outside of that, really, like, who made a drastic improvement, really, at the end of, from now, well, Shopify are better with Zinni. Loud moved up quite a bit. Heretics, I like Heretics this year. Disguised moved up a lot in these power rankings. But then after, it's kind of the same teams. I mean, Los Grandes are back, but Los Grandes kind of are just whatever right now based on their roster. We'll see how they do. Yeah, and then we got to think about Los Ratones in Deep Cross Gaming. KCB still are towards the bottom. I'm sure some people are going to say these Tier 3 players would beat Tier 1 players in Brazil, etc. I am not going to entertain that hypothetical. But regardless, and now they're Tier 2 players, but there are Tier 3 players on that team from 2025. Deep Cross Gaming, 4th best PCS team. PCS has historically been decent. So they're probably going to end up in this range if I had to guess. You think of a CFO, you think of a Talon last year. Those two were top 10 to 12 teams in this power rankings, and both went to Worlds. So theoretically, maybe Talon didn't go to Worlds. Maybe they didn't. I can't remember. But regardless, I expect them to be middle of the road. Usually the PCS teams are solid and very competitive. So even though they have an unproven roster at the Tier 1 level outside of Shousey, usually historically it kind of pans out. So, yeah. We'll see how this goes. Like I said, in a couple weeks we're going to update this, and it will be off of team stats because I prefer team stats for power rankings of teams over player stats. But this is kind of a roster rankings, I guess. People want to do tier lists. I fucking hate tier lists. So this is how they look right now. So I guess theoretically the world's teams would be Team Liquid, Cloud9, Lion, G2KC Shifters, CFO. We got CFO, GAM, Team Secret Whales. So the only one I swapped out really was GAM and MKVE. So that works. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter. Join the Discord. Become a YouTube supporter. And hope to see you again tomorrow.